What's your one thing? Your true source of courage and strength. I want to know, have you found it yet? You know, I live by something that means so much to me. Every storm runs out of rain. I heard this first during one of the darkest moments of my life, and I didn't believe the storm would pass. You know, when you're in the middle of the storm, when the wind is howling and the rain is pounding, and you can't see 2 feet in front of you, you know, it feels like it will never end. But storms always move on. The sun will always shine again. In fact, it was always shining behind that storm. And sometimes those storms leave behind the richest soil for something beautiful to grow. That soil begs you to ask the question, what will I plant? This is where the seeds of philanthropy can take root. Today, I want to share my journey through 3 acts from my book. The book is My Life in Business Suits, Hospital Gowns, and High Heels. And how each one taught me not just how to survive the storms of life, but how to choose to give from them. Let's start with the business suit. You know, I wore the business suit. MCI, Walmart, Palm, Facebook, startups. I had the titles, I had the wealth, the offices with the views, and stock options. I thought I was in control. But you know, that control can be an illusion. Then love and curiosity knocked on my door. It didn't come with a 5-year plan or a stock option grant. It came with a whisper. What if there's more to life than this? Today I'd be worth, yes, right now I calculated this morning, I'd be worth $250 million right here with you today if I hadn't sold the stock. That Facebook stock, and that's not counting the interest, but I sold it and I don't regret it for a moment. I sold what I had, and I realized if I kept chasing that illusion, I'd never discover the reality of who I could become. What I didn't know was that my next storm was already on the horizon. The hospital gown. Life stripped me of my business suit, and it replaced it with a hospital gown. You know, that flimsy little piece of fabric that never ties in the back. 2 life-threatening diagnoses. One I was told was terminal. Not once, but 3 times I've been given 6 months to live. 6 months to live, 3 times. In a short time, I went from leading others to waiting for test results. And today, I've lived with metastatic cancer for 13 years. And as I fondly say, I'm still here. It was through this that I learned about something I call terrible gifts. You know, those gifts of life that you never choose yourself, but they can change you forever. An event happens in your life. You know, you may have had one, or you certainly know somebody who has. And somehow one day, a month, a year, 10 years, you see that it had a gift for you, something that made you who you are today. You know, I did the silent retreats, I did all the deep inner work, but I had a spiritual awakening that came not with fireworks, but from stillness. This is when my definition of philanthropy shifted, because I began to see that giving isn't just about what you leave behind. It's not about what leaves your hand. It's about what leaves your heart. I learned about the philanthropic mindset. It's not about your name on a building or attending the next gala. Did you realize that even your smile or a simple hello can be your gift of philanthropy. And I learned not to ask, how much time do I have, but what will I do with the time that I have? And those high heels, now, how do you get from a hospital gown to high heels? Well, those high heels were the symbol of living unapologetically, fully, even if people stare. For me, it meant stepping onto stages, telling stories. You know what? You're going to have to read the book to find out more about those heels. All three of these, which seem like three different lives, are really one. You see, all the parts of your life, even the parts that you may feel shame, fear, they're private, or somebody just won't understand. All those parts of your life led you to who you are today. And indeed, without one of them, you just might not be who you are today. It led me to the philanthropic mindset. Today, I serve underserved communities, youth in the arts, first-generation students, current women's issues, hunger, and so much more. Women who are discharged for domestic violence from hospitals. We offer them Pilates or acupuncture to reacquaint with their bodies. And one of my favorites, a woman in Oakland, California, who sees at-risk boys on the street and teaches them the saxophone to give them an identity. We just make it possible for her to teach more at-risk boys the saxophone. You know, recently I sent this check to a youth arts program here on Maui. I thought nothing about it. I knew that I was giving scholarships to kids that would never be able to participate. But my surprise was when the hand-colored thank you note showed up in the mail that all the children made. It meant more to me than any check I could ever write. All of this meant modeling generosity as a lifestyle, what I call planting trees for which I will never see the shade of, or creating a ripple effect in the lives of others that I will know nothing about, trusting that in giving to them, they in turn one day will give to others. I want to share with you one of my favorite things. It's the simple dandelion. I even use it for my logo. You know, they call it a weed. In the dandelion, I see resilience. It will grow through the cracks in concrete. It will take root where no one ever expects. You can even poison it, and it will return again and again and again. And when the wind blows, it spreads far and wide. Be a dandelion. Spread your gifts far and wide. You know, that's what storms do. The storms of life. They break the ground open. They make the soil fertile. When that happens in your life, I ask this question: what will you plant? Will you plant bitterness, regret, or will you plant generosity, courage, and love? Will you learn to use risk, resilience, and reinvention, the things that I use in my practice as a coach, a speaker? Here's my invitation to you. Trust those terrible gifts in your life. Give what you have, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure, because you can be someone else's miracle. And every storm runs out of rain. And when it does, you have the chance to plant something extraordinary. So I ask you today, what's your one thing? Your true source of courage and strength? Well, maybe it's just what you plant in those times that require risk, resilience, and reinvention. and how you serve others, even if just your smile. I'm so grateful to be with you today. I'm grateful for Anshu and JB for leading this and for your attendance and what you'll take away from the talks today and use in your life. Use in your one life to express your one thing. Remember, today is the day. Many of us lived in what happened yesterday. Never forget there are no do-overs. If you can learn from it, take that time. Otherwise, be right here. Yes, be here now. Right here is where the magic is. You know, I love using these things in my coaching practice. I have something I call the haystack method. You know, people talk about it all the time. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, I think you have your answers. The needle. My job is simply to hold the space for you to remove your hay so you can find that answer. It's been great being with you today.